I have also a George Clooney story. It reminds me of something that happened between the two of us. Two of us. Okay. I was directing and had directed many of the Knots Landings. And George had just at that time started directing. And I had seen the first movie he directed. And lo and behold, I walk into the club, American Airlines, and there he is sitting there. So I just went up to him and I told him that I admired the movie. And we were on the same lot at one point of time when he was doing the early series he did. And he thanked me. The thing is that I think he felt safe with me immediately, or he never would have done what he did when we got on the plane.
Don't go away.
I was in, pardon me everybody, because it doesn't happen often, I was in first class, and George was in first class, and I was sitting there, and he turned back around to me. He was in the first row, which I find very uncomfortable, but he was in the first row. He looked back at me and he said, "Come on, sit here," because of course he'd be sitting alone in the bulkhead. Right? He does not want to be bothered. And I thought, oh, it was actually very sweet, because I don't think he was doing it to flirt or pick me up or anything. He just enjoyed the fact I had talked to him a little bit about directing. And what I saw, and this is honestly true, what I saw with my intelligence about what he was doing, kind of an interesting conversation he'd like to have with me. So I sat down with him. We discussed his movie a little bit and what I thought in life about different directors, major directors. And it prompted him to get into a discussion with me that was a little bit personal. I don't mean him picking me up. I mean a little bit personal, telling me things about his life and people that he loved. Not worrying about the fact that I was going to be a chatterbox, because I am not. I know it seems I might be, but I'm not. I hold many, many secrets. So he was telling me about his friendship with a few different people who are well known and why. And I could have gone off and told a lot of people, which I never have. Anyway, as we're trying, I have the New York Times. We were going to New York. And I thought, how can I keep up this conversation with George Clooney for all this time, right? So I picked up the New York Times, and I started to go through the New York Times. So I go, la, 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 la. I really read the New York Times. And he was there, and, every once in a while I'd pick up the Times and start reading again. Started talking to me about dating and how I feel about dating and the kind of men I would date. And I said, often I'm not asked out. He said, "You're kidding me." And I said, "No, really." I said, "I think men are a little bit afraid of someone who feels a little too dynamic and a little too," I'll use the word powerful because I was a little too successful, who has the personality of someone who's out there. I don't blame men. I think that could be very scary, especially men who might not feel that they have enough comfort in the bank, even if it's all that new money stuff. So he said, "No, you're kidding." And I was getting up to go to the ladies' room, and he said, "Have you ever thought of dating a younger man?"
Draw your own conclusions, folks.
He was younger than me. And I thought, holy... That was Donald Duck, by the way.
Okay.
I did Donald Duck a long time, but they fired me.
I don't believe you.
It's just,
but go
why?
ahead.
So I thought, oh no, he's asking me out. It really felt, because I was standing and he looked up at me, had a look on his face, and he said, it was like, but have you ever dated a younger man? And I thought fast and I thought, or would you be interested in dating a younger man? I said, no, oh God, help me. I said, no, I haven't. It's like I'm not attracted to them. Oh, I'm so lying right now.
Oh,
No. So we get off the plane. I went back. I sat with him. Get off the plane. He's having a car pick him up. I'm standing by the luggage. And he says to me, come here for a minute. And he says to me, now you can tell all of your friends that George Clooney kept trying to talk to you and you kept putting that GD New York Times over your eyes so I wouldn't have to deal with it. And that was Anne, and we hugged, and it was him actually saying there was interest.
have you seen him since?
I think he locked me out of his home. I went twice, knocked on the door, and his wife with the twins were at the door saying, you shan't come in, with an accent. Next question, please.
Oh, I wasn't ready for you to be done.
Finish.
Please.
I gotta hold it on. Okay.